Hello, everybody. David here. Welcome. Here we share true stories from real people. Today, starting out with the first story. I, 23F, and my husband, 23M, are wondering if we should get a divorce. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. This account is a throwaway since friends/family follow my main account. Some personal details have been omitted for anonymity. I'll try to create a timeline of events in our relationship for context. TLDR is at the bottom. We met when we were 9 years old and started dating at 12. Remember, this is middle school dating. He cheated on me when we were 15 or 16. From that point, we kept getting back together and breaking up until we were 17. I was offered a full scholarship to a university across the country for athletics/academics. When I was 18, I hated my first and only semester there. I hated the team, the coaches, and I had no friends. He flew out to visit me and we got engaged at 18. A little over a month later, he flew back and we got married at the courthouse. I moved back home after the semester ended. He was 18 and I was 19 when he joined a very tough/prestigious branch of the military. He left for 3 months of training. It was hard, but we managed. He returned for a few weeks and then left again for several months to attend school for his specific job. During this time, which I only found out later, he signed up on Bumble and paid over $50 and to upgrade for more swipes. He insists he never met anyone from there and that no conversations went beyond introductions. He also, again, something I found out years later, spent over $600 at a strip club. He claims he was pressured to go by his seniors and ended up paying for a VIP room for a friend who got one but couldn't pay, and my husband said his friend would get in trouble. That weekend, he went up and down the coast to multiple clubs and another strip club, as I later discovered. At 19, we moved and bought our first house together. At 20, he deployed. This would be one of the most difficult times in our lives, and it became even harder after he came home. He developed a porn addiction while deployed. I remember sitting on the bathroom floor at 4 a.m., refreshing one of his social media accounts, and seeing his follower count increase every 5 minutes. All porn accounts. He pressured me to take pictures and videos, and I felt guilty for not doing the things he wanted, feeling that if I didn't, he'd find someone else to do it for him. He came home 6 months later, and we were okay except for a few weeks after when I noticed that as soon as he got home from work, he'd almost immediately head to the bathroom and shower for over 45 minutes. Sometimes I'd go into the bathroom afterward, and I could tell he'd dropped the bottle of lube, as the floor was still slick, or I'd see the ring left on the counter from the bottom of the bottle. I tried my best to ignore it until one day I saw our account was charged $30 and by someone with a very interesting name. I confronted him and he immediately looked away, took a deep breath, ran his hands through his hair, and quickly came up with an excuse that it was his best friend's wife who bought them lunch during work. I don't know why, but I said okay and left it there. A few minutes later, he got up and said he felt sick and went to lie down. An hour later, I got a text from him apologizing and saying he developed a porn addiction during deployment, and that he had sent money to a girl for her premium Snapchat or something. He said he felt so guilty that he didn't even look at anything and deleted her right after sending the money. I realized that on the day this transaction occurred, he had bought me flowers. He had never done that before, even on special occasions. From this point on, dates start to blur for me. I can't remember what happened first, when, or how far apart, but I'll try my best to provide as much information as I can recall. Sometime later, maybe weeks, maybe months, I woke up to a message from an old acquaintance on some social media platform. I think we were still 20 or maybe 21. I don't remember exactly what she said, but it was something like, "I just want you to know XXXX said this to me," or something like that. He had messaged her the night before, while drinking at a friend's house down the street, that he loved and missed her. I wish I could remember more, but for some reason I can't. I know she said something like, "You can't say that, you're married," and he responded with something like, "I don't care." I screamed at him to wake up, but he was still drunk. I told him I wanted a divorce. I locked myself in the bathroom and hurt myself because I wanted to feel anything other than what I was feeling at that moment. I don't know how much time passed. When I opened the door, he said he didn't send those messages. He said he had left his phone plugged into the speaker and his friend was using it to play music. He claimed that his friend must have seen the girl's story and messaged her, trying to get nudes. He even pulled out his phone with proof, a text conversation between him and his friend confirming that the friend had messaged her and apologized. I don't know why, but I immediately believed him. I remember feeling the most intense sense of, I don't even know the word for it, but whatever it is when you exhale after holding your breath and say, "Oh, thank God." I feel sick writing this because I realize how much I've forgotten and how much it feels like I'm missing something. I think at 21, the shit really hit the fan. I think at this point, I'd checked his phone multiple times and found internet history and links he had clicked through one of his social media accounts to hundreds of only F&S pages. One night, I went through his entire dollar account history since 2018 and found charges for the strip club and Bumble. He said that the Bumble charge wasn't his doing, but that a senior had used his card because his was frozen or some ridiculous story like that. And of course, I believed him. I don't know why. I can't remember when I found out that he had lied about messaging the girl on social media. I think it was after I went through his phone again and found messages between him and his friend, the one supposedly sending the messages. The friend was saying things like, "Bro, I can't even come to parties your wife is at because she hates me, lol," or something like that. But they both confirmed what I didn't want to believe. My husband had taken my phone, deleted the messages the girl had sent me, and had his friend concoct this elaborate story. I can't remember when I found out he had downloaded and paid for an upgrade on Bumble. I think it was when I finally knew he had lied and tortured him long enough for him to break. He said he never met anyone or anything and said in a conversation, "I only paid for the upgrade because no one would swipe on me anyway." Or something like that. I can't remember when we went to the legal office and got information to file for divorce. I had never seen him cry except one other time. After we got married at the airport, he cried so hard and wouldn't let me see. He just held me and buried his face in my chest so I couldn't see. He said he didn't want to leave. But he cried constantly after I told him it was over, and I had an appointment and the paperwork to file for divorce. I had never seen him like this before. Constantly apologizing, deleting every social media account he ever owned. Crying at the drop of a pin. Saying things like he would never marry again. I could have all of our savings. He'd pay for me to finish college if that's what I wanted. I caved, and we went to marriage counseling. He stepped up, a lot. He never looked at his phone anymore. He'd leave his phone unlocked and face down on the table. He told me I could go through it anytime I wanted. Promised to stop watching porn. He even started cleaning the house and cooking dinner before I got home from work. He stopped drinking with friends. It was a complete 180. For a while. Problems started to arise when every little thing could trigger a panic attack. He couldn't go out with friends without me getting anxious. Maybe a few weeks later, he started drinking with friends again. One night, he wasn't home when he said he would be, and I broke down. I ended up in the hospital, and that was just the beginning of this toxic cycle. He'd do something to set me off, whether it was drinking with his friends or occasionally watching a short YouTube clip that I'd find in his watch history of a half-naked woman with her breasts hanging out and bouncing up and down. I'd scream at him, berate him, and tear him down because I wanted him to feel exactly how I felt. I think marriage counseling eventually helped a lot. After the hospital, I finally got my own therapist. She's my best friend. I still text her to this day. I don't have any friends where we live. He works with friends every day and every weekend they have parties. I have no one. My friends and family are back home. I'm shy, with really bad social anxiety, and have always had a hard time making friends because I can't seem to open my mouth when there are more than 3 people in the room. Every time he goes somewhere, I feel so alone. I think at 22, our marriage really started to improve again. We went on vacation together and were able to work out a lot of issues, and we could communicate the things we were feeling, which was amazing. We both felt heard, and we could find means of compromise on issues and set boundaries that each of us respected. I had just turned 23 when I moved back home a few months before his contract ended. He finished up with the house and his job and moved back home with me. He tried a blue-collar job working nights, earning pretty good money, even more than he made in the military. But he hated it. He hated everything about it. He missed his friends and his job. His friends were his family. This was the first time I saw him truly depressed. 5 months later, he joined a different branch of the military. I didn't want him to. I wanted him to stay and have a normal life with me. I wanted to do normal jobs and have a family. He didn't. He said he didn't even want to have a family. I started nursing school, and my best friend, who I barely get to see, had a baby. I finally had a group of friends and a family I could talk to every week. He left and got stationed in another state, but this time only about 600 miles away. Far, but drivable. He came home to visit just a week after being there. We were doing well at this point, texting and calling a lot. Over a month ago, he went across the country for a 6-week desert training exercise. Most of that time, he didn't have his phone, but he could text me once over a week ago. Then he stopped texting until I messaged him that my pet had died. He responded immediately. I realized he had his phone but wasn't talking to me. Yesterday morning, he texted me saying he was going on his next leave with an old military friend from his previous branch, and for the leave after that, he wanted to visit his extended family in another state. We've talked a lot since then, none of it good. I asked why he was pushing me away, and he said he was focused on his goals. I said I felt like I was being ignored until he was ready to acknowledge me and our marriage, and I tried to tell him he didn't need to be alone and I'd support him. He said, "But you can't. You say you can, but you don't support college or the CIA, so I feel like I should just do this alone and cut out some negativity." And I realized he was right. He was in college when we were around 21, maybe 22, and I really made fun of him because I didn't realize he was serious. I didn't believe he could do something like that. He had just graduated high school. He went to a total of 4 different high schools and never had a GPA above 1.5. I tried to do his homework to help him stay afloat, but he didn't care. I even enrolled him in the same online academy I attended, since public school didn't fit my sports schedule, and I had to do every class and every assignment for him because he would never do them. He ended up graduating from what you'd call an alternative high school. After he told me he wanted to go to college, he told me he would join the CIA. This was bewildering to me. I didn't know what to do because he wanted me to support him, but I didn't want to lie to him that I believed he could do it. I guess I still don't. And I feel awful, and I can't imagine how it feels to have your spouse not support you unconditionally. I don't know how to support him in something I don't think he can do. And now, here we are. Neither of us wants to get divorced. We both know our relationship isn't at its best. Neither of us knows what to do. I'd feel so lost and empty without him. I've known him for more than half my life. Our personalities are shaped around each other. We talk the same, we have the same mannerisms. We grew up together and grew into adults together. I just want to add that the experiences I just listed were the worst times. We've had amazing experiences together. We have so much fun together. He makes me laugh more than anyone else can. He knows everything about me and has been there for every major moment in my life. I'm absolutely terrified of the future. I'm scared to tell my family if we get divorced. I don't want to be another statistic. I know we got married young. I know we're a military family. I know that. I know that most of these marriages end in divorce, but I really thought we were different. I don't want to start over. I'm almost 24, and I know that's still considered young, but I've known him for 14 years. I think we've started thinking about having a family together. He just wants to focus on his career and says he doesn't even think he wants a family. I don't know what to do anymore. If you're still here, thank you for reading. I'm sorry if I'm all over the place. I've never shared all of this with anyone. I'm ashamed of my situation and feel like I don't know what to do anymore. I'm really nervous to read any responses because I think I know what they'll all say. TLDR, married young, he's in the military, history of infidelity, on my side, verbal abuse, and lack of support. Marriage counseling has helped in the past, but we're at a point where we feel like we want different things, but we still love each other and don't want a divorce. Neither of us knows what to do. Update 1 in the comments section, September 29, 2023. After over 1,000 people tore me apart in the comments, I wanted to give an update and answer a few questions. First off, yes, I can type like an a-hole. I had every intention of making this post anonymously, which obviously failed as soon as I started typing. I didn't think this would get more than a few thousand views and some comments. I typed out every embarrassing detail because I needed to see it all in one place for myself. Some said that I must be exhausting to be around if I told friends and family all of this. Well, you'll be happy to know that no one knows. I've never told any of my friends or family even a fraction of what's happened. That's why I wrote a saga. I wanted one person to know everything and tell me what to do because my brain has become a complicated mess, kind of rose-colored of. I don't even know. I've made my husband out to be this powerful, loving, lovable, and charismatic provider. And I know why. I've spent my entire life wanting to be the best at everything. My dad's favorite thing to say to me every day after practice was, "Second place is just the first loser." And I held on to that. I was the best. I was the best student in school. I ranked first in my high school class of over 700 people. I have hundreds of medals and titles. I placed second at nationals one year, though to me that wasn't an achievement, but I know it should be. But after dropping out of college and leaving a full scholarship for athletics and academics, I wanted it to mean something. I never told anyone that I left because I hated it and couldn't face it. I told everyone that I got married and he joined the Marines, and I wanted to support him. I didn't want anyone to realize I couldn't hack it. I wanted it to mean something. And if I had problems in my marriage or if I got divorced, it would mean nothing. I would lose again. And I couldn't lose. I grew up hiding in my closet when I heard my dad yelling at my siblings for getting C's and D's in school. I knew what losing would get you. And I wouldn't lose. My mom cheated on my dad when I was little. I remember waking up one morning to them screaming on the front lawn, my mom trying to get in the car to go to work, and my dad grabbing her arm and pulling her out of the car. They didn't know I saw. They got over it, if that's what you want to call it. I thought that's what you had to do. I thought marriage was supposed to be hard, and you had to work as hard as you could to fix your ups and downs. A lot of people asked if I wanted to live the rest of my life like this. Of course I don't. Who would want that? Why did I stay even after the first time? Well, a starving person will eat anything. I actually read every comment, even the hurtful ones. You motherfuckers are assholes, and I needed that. I needed more than 1,000 people to tell me I was a blind idiot to realize marriage isn't supposed to be like this. And I deserve better. Because I do. I really do deserve better. And to all the people who said I wouldn't leave because I haven't left yet. I will prove you wrong. I won't go back. I won't settle. I had heard the phrase, sunk cost fallacy before, but I didn't know what it meant. I do now. Thank you to everyone, even those who thought this post was a creative writing piece. I laughed at the realization that my life and marriage had become so awful, it was unbelievable. On a final note, yes, I commented with my main account a few times. It doesn't even matter anymore. And please message me and tell me I got this because I'm going to need it so badly. I feel like I've been dragged to the edge of a cliff by the rug, and I can't find my footing. I don't know where the ground is or when it's coming. But I know where I'm going is better than where I am now. Update: 1 year later, August 2, 2024. Hi everyone, it's been almost a year. I can't believe it's been almost a year. I don't think I've ever done an update like this before, so I hope I do it right and it doesn't get deleted. I meant to update sooner, I really did. But I've been busy living my life to the fullest extent possible. I can honestly say that I didn't even think I could enjoy life this much. I've never experienced happiness like this. Honestly, I find it hard to put into words how amazing my life has become. I filed for divorce, probably within 48 hours of posting that post. The papers were signed a month later, and the divorce was finalized 2 months after that. It was completely uncontested. We didn't share any assets, no kids, thank God. It was honestly a lot easier than I expected. The hardest part was telling my family, especially my mom. Everyone loved him so much because, unfortunately, I made him out to be so perfect. Finding out otherwise was almost a slap in the face, and I felt terrible. She cried for days. But she was very supportive of me. Everyone was so supportive of me. I'm about to turn 25. I decided to go get my nursing license. That's the path I'm on now. I've made an incredible group of friends this past year. If I'm not working, I'm out having fun. I'm doing something exciting every day. I'll try to respond to every comment, but I've been busy lately. I've really started to find myself. And I'm amazing. I'm capable of so much. And I'm brave. I'm so brave. I made one particular friend from my first post, Bethany 200,300. Thank you, and my best friend Katie, if you're reading this. Thank you for keeping me accountable and loving me unconditionally. I really didn't realize how terrible of a situation I was in, at least not until after I posted that first post and got so many eye-opening comments. But so many people were right. I already knew the answer to my question. There's really something odd about that. It doesn't even feel real. Whenever I try to think about my life over the past few years, I can barely remember anything. It's almost like I'm trying to recall a story someone else told me. Whatever I do remember, I remember almost like I was an audience member, or an invisible third person in the room. And I just think about that poor girl and what she was going through. I can't even imagine how awful it was. It doesn't even feel like that was me. My real life started the moment he was gone. We don't talk anymore. We haven't talked much since December. One of our last interactions, he was very sad about the divorce and regretted it, then went on to threaten that he would kill anyone I date in the future. Yeah, it's recorded to the best of my ability. I don't think he would actually do anything like that. He hasn't even been back in this state this year. I think he's been too busy. Last I heard through the grapevine, he got drunk, had a one-night stand, and got some girl pregnant. She wants to keep the baby. He doesn't. I think she even took a brick to his car and smashed it. If I could give him one last piece of advice, it would be to start a savings account to pay for that poor kid's therapy bills in the future. And to ask if he's ever realized that most of the huge mistakes in his life are alcohol-related. But alas, that's not my problem. He'll never hear from me again. And I can say that with complete happiness and confidence. To everyone who said I wouldn't do it and that I wasn't capable of leaving, fuck you and thank you. I did it. I left. I didn't walk, I ran. I sprinted. And I didn't look back. Thank you, Reddit, for helping save my life. To anyone who might be going through something similar, you can do it, I believe in you. If I can do it, so can you. The other side is brighter than you can imagine.